Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. A guest that really needs no introduction. He just has a flashing sign that he carries over his head so everybody knows who he is everywhere he goes. Joe Max Higgins. He is a big part of the business community here in the Golden Triangle. We're broadcasting live from West Point. Prairie Arts Festival, just 11 days away, August 30th, Labor Day weekend. Always a fun time in West Point.
Always.
Good morning.
It's hot. It's hot when festival time is over here, though.
That usually coincides with the start of dove season, the start of football, and it's hot everywhere you go.
There you go.
But you know fall's just around the corner.
It is.
And by just around the corner, like 2 months away at that point still, it feels like, how are you, my friend?
I'm good.
Good to see you. Big things going on with Link today, right?
Yeah, we're having a big day today.
New office?
We've moved into a new office. Actually moved in 4th of July week.
Okay.
Thought it'd take us about 3 or 4 days and everything would be up and running. Well,
You've moved before. You know that doesn't work that way.
And they were still hanging pictures yesterday when I left at 4:30. So, but we've got our open house and welcoming people to come see the new office, see the new digs, and we've got a presentation. We're going to dedicate our big training room to Bobby Harper, who has been key and instrumental in our organization since I've been here. He's the guy that went out and twisted the tails and raised the money for the trust, which is our booster club that lets us do the extra things.
Yeah.
And millions of dollars he's raised, and we think it's time that he gets recognized for that.
Outstanding. What's going on right now? I mean, you're talking about the new office, and so that's kind of like an internal thing. But we've talked about big projects. We've talked about the Cinco Mega site, but knowing you have never been comfortable sitting still or standing pat. It's always looking to the future and looking at what's next. So what is next?
Well, we've probably what is next is we're starting to get customers coming in the park, in the supplier park at the aluminum mill.
Okay.
Probably in the next 30 days or so. We're still waiting on schedules. And it's been announced. Klockner Metals is going to build a almost $100 million facility there to process aluminum. That'll probably be the next thing we announce. We got 4 projects we're working, one in West Point, one in Starkville, and two at out by the airport. They are all big projects, and when I say big, they're all billion or multi-billion-dollar projects.
These are new projects that you're working on.
New projects that we're working, and 2 are in the metals industry, or metals or minerals needed for metals. One is data center, and then one is actually. Going to make product that's going to support data centers. It's not a data center. It's going to make product that's going to support data centers. So all of those are big projects that we're trying to spin a plate. 2 of them, I would say, are developmental, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That they're working towards a deal. The other 2, companies got the cash money to do the deal if they want to do the deal. And then a host of smaller stuff.
Well, and pipeline is interesting, right? I mean, anybody that has worked in sales and has had a manager said, all right, tell me what's in your pipeline.
Yep.
Whether you're using some kind of a software platform where you got to plug all that stuff in like Salesforce, or it's just a conversation about, hey, who are your prospects? What's on the horizon? What is the pipeline like when you're talking about these large economic development projects?
Well,
what's the timeline?
The big ones, we may be in development for 12 to 18 months. Okay, so they start out, you start working them, you find out if they're real or not. We got cut on a big project not too long ago. They started out with 26 states, down to 23, down to 17, down to 13. We're still there.
Okay.
And when they cut it 13, we're out. Okay. But if you stay in, it can be 12 to 18 months if you win the deal. And then it's another 12 to 18 or 36 months before you're hiring your people. So these are long-term deals.
So Governor was on with me last Wednesday, and I asked him about this. It kind of spurred from a conversation with Bill Court back in the Neshoba County Fair. And he was talking about you don't win all the projects, but sometimes you don't win a project because you say no.
Absolutely.
That you say it's too expensive or it's not the right fit. Is that something that you deal with as well in terms of evaluating these deals?
Absolutely. There's a lot of times we say we may not have the labor to support. You can't let somebody come and then not be happy, okay? Mm-hmm. That's a kiss of death. So it may be your project's too big for us. We can't support it. We're not comfortable with your financials, especially on new companies, newcos, what we call them. You're taking a lot of risk. What happens if they start to build and then it doesn't work?
Yeah.
Your mix with your other companies. I will tell you that over the years, we've told some pretty big deals no because it just wasn't a fit.
Do they appreciate that also, even if they're frustrated in the moment? Maybe they thought it was the right spot, and you're like, I don't think this is going to work.
Statute of limitations probably is over. Okay?
I would think so.
So when Haley Barber was governor and Grace Swope was MDA director, and I was doing what I did, we were working on a project with U.S. Steel to make a Coke replacement, the Coke used in steel production, similar to what SDI is building right now in our biochar project. And they wanted to come on actually that site. And it was many, many hundreds of millions of dollars. And
U.S. Steel, big operation. And we started talking about union. And they said, our policy is we don't endorse and support nor oppose. And we said, we'd just rather not have a union facility here. And sitting in the 15th floor of the Woolfolk building, the three of us said, we believe we'll pass. They don't get told no a whole lot either, do they?
Well, a lot of companies don't get told no, but that's okay,
Visiting with Joe Max Higgins. He's the executive director of the Golden Triangle Development Link, that multi-county partnership. I can't tell you how many times I have referenced you when we're talking about economic development.
I've heard you. I listen to you almost every morning.
I appreciate that, but it's fascinating. Whether you're talking about North Central, Northwest Mississippi, or you're talking about the Gulf Coast, I feel like the conversation is more real than it has ever been about these multi-county partnerships. And I think in large part that's credit to you and your team at Link because of the success that you've had.
Well, I'd like to think that what Ryan and them are talking about up north right now is a result of what we've done here, and that's good. In our business, stealing somebody's idea is the most sincere form of flattery you can give them.
Right.
Ricky Matthews, your broadcast
he has talked
partner
a lot
on
about
the
coast
coast
partnership,
and I think that's starting to get traction. So, if nothing more, there's two areas of the state that we can focus on and say, hey, maybe we're helping, and that makes the state better. And if the state's better, we're better.
Well, and I was going to ask you, there's this idea in business that competition is good for business. That if you're driving down a main street in a town and you see a Starbucks, there's a good chance you're going to see a Chick-fil-A and a few other businesses because everybody has decided that that's where the people are coming. Does that hold true in major economic development projects, that competition is good for business even within a single state?
Yeah, I think it makes it good for business. First of all, it makes us better. It's like going and playing against a bunch of guys that are not any good, and you say, hey, I think I'm going to be all world, and you go play against some good competition, they beat your head in, right?
Yeah.
So, no, I think, I think it would be good, better for all of us if we had better in-state competition because, again, you hedge your bets. If we don't win it, maybe somewhere north or south of us wins it, but Mississippi would still win it.
Is the geographic makeup of the state, you have talked to me in the past about the fact that land where you are, at least at the beginning, was abundant. Like there was a lot of opportunity for land that worked for the projects you were trying to attract. Does geography play a role in what projects you go after, what makes sense for a particular region? Yeah,
I had Cork riding through the mega site the other day, and I was talking about, how hard I'd been working to put this site together. And he said, I don't want to hear that crap. He said, look at this wide open land. He said, and he just started beating me up, like you're not all that special as much as you think, it's not that hard. Most places don't have this.
Yeah.
And it's not just in Mississippi. I mean, in East Tennessee, I had a lot of TVA people have been here lately. And
right.
They said, you just don't have this in East Tennessee. You got to build on the side of a mountain. But this rolling prairie land, and we don't have as much as we did, but there's still a whole bunch of land in this part of the world.
Yeah, maybe not quite as flat as the Delta, but certainly topography that you can work with.
You can work with, and a lot of it is open. You got trees, but it's been grazed. It's been
sure.
Open fields with trees on the edges.
Visiting with Joe Max Higgins. He's the executive director of the Golden Triangle Development Link. Great projects, not only underway, but some that are on the horizon. last time I visited with you was at Fort County. They had a big deal going on. We're going to talk about energy needs and energy consumption a second ago because you challenged me when I left. You're like, hey, take the long way home. I want you to make the big loop. And I did. Got turned around a couple of times, but I made the big loop. And the scale of these sites that are part of Link is staggering. If you've never done it, I'd encourage you to check it out, just like Joe Max did with me as well. But it is absolutely staggering just how big these projects are. We'll talk more about energy consumption, working with Fort County, working with TVA. Is there enough energy to go around here in Mississippi? We'll get to that coming up next. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi. Glad to be with you on this Tuesday in West. Good to be with you this morning as we broadcast live from West Point, Mississippi. Sun's up. Going to be a nice day. Going to be a warm day, but a nice day nonetheless. C-Spire text line open to you at 601-879-4395. Quinn says, man, they spin some plates in West Point. Yeah, a lot going on. John says a few months ago he reached out about a warehouse location. Said he'll be in Gluckstadt today looking at sites. Wouldn't have known about it if it had not been for us on the radio. And he says, thank you for that. John, appreciate you sharing that. There is a lot that is going on. Joe Max Higgins is my guest. He's the executive director of the Golden Triangle Development Link. From an economic standpoint, we've heard the governor's announcements over and over and over. Kind of have passed $35 billion, and that number continues to grow in terms of economic development in his 5 years in office. It's happening all over the state. The environment is very, very competitive. What is it that, in your mind, I mean, I've heard what the governor says, heard what Bill Cork says. In your mind, what is it that has allowed Mississippi to be successful in this endeavor over the last handful of years?
Well, you know, you got to recognize the governor. You got to recognize Bill Cork for one. I mean, this is very competitive, as you just said, and you can't go at it mancy-pansy. I mean, you got to go, dive in the mosh pit and hope somebody catches you almost.
Yeah.
They are aggressive. They're calculated aggressive, though. In working with them on deals, we were talking in the earlier segment that they just don't, I mean, they're not. They'll tell a deal no.
Right.
But we sat down, the three of us worked together, we built a plan. The governor's a dog with a bone when he gets one of these projects. He just really is. And I give them a lot of credit for that. And then for the communities, I think the ones that have put the products together, that's got the sites, that's got the water, the sewer, all the stuff either done or ready to get done, speed to market, that it gives those two guys something to sell.
Yeah.
And then you put, the local community, the state agency, the governor. And, governors can get involved too early in processes. It seems like he just got an intuition of when he needs to slide in there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Bill and I will work a deal, and then, he's almost like the guy that comes in from the outfield and throws those three pitches at the end of the game, gets all the
closer.
Credit. Yeah, closer, and we go, yeah, but we pitched the whole game. And he said, yeah, but you needed me to finish it. And that's okay. That's okay.
Outs 25, 26, and 27 are supposedly the toughest outs to get.
And that's what we depend on him to do.
Joe Max Higgins, talking economic development, big projects. There's a lot going on. Kind of looking toward the 8 o'clock hour. We're going to talk with a couple of the guys from Fort County and the role that they play in this. But you mentioned data centers, right? You've got the big one going on in Madison. You got a data center project here, an ancillary data center project that could be on the way as well. And if we've learned anything about these data centers that are happening, and there is need that seems like you can't keep up with, they require a lot of juice.
Yep, they do.
Are you concerned about that in terms of power generation, the power generation that is needed to continue with these projects?
Well, all right, so if you'll take the Madison deal as an example, where Entergy's building the new powered plants,
right,
and going to fire that's kind of one model. But what we saw with XAI in Memphis is Elon just said, hey, I'm going to put my own in. And
which apparently has already generated some pushback within the community.
Correct. And so what you're seeing now is, I was talking to one of the prominent law firms last week, and there are 4 kind of deals looking around in the state right now, and not counting Amazon because that's done. All of them are looking at their own generation the one here is looking at its own generation. The contract with the company to come in, build the generation, operate it, purchase the stuff, and provide the power. And that will free up space on the grid.
Right.
But, it's not without concerns. I mean, it needs natural gas to run. My question is, today we don't have enough electricity. Is tomorrow the question not enough natural gas? If we're burning the natural gas.
Geologists say there's a lot, right?
Yeah. And what I learned from one of the consultants the other day is it seems that Kosciuszko, Mississippi may be ground central for gas. He said that is a very, very geographic key. Kosciuszko, Mississippi. So shout out to our friends there,
No doubt. Congratulations if you own land in Kosciuszko. It might be worth more.
But I had no idea, and he sent me some maps and some stuff, and I said I get it now. But I think for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. I mean, this starts being a problem. You get over here, you start fixing it. Yeah. Well, then you got another problem somewhere else.
I'm not smart enough to really know what I'm asking, but I am wildly fascinated with the conversation about modular nuclear power. I think I called them micro nuclear power plants, and somebody corrected me, said modular. The people that I've talked to that seem to know what they're saying say, yeah, but that's 30, 40 years away.
Yeah.
Is it really that long in terms of development for us to get to something? Because it feels like that has the potential, if it's safe and it's reliable, the chance to be the ultimate game changer in some of these major power-intensive sites.
It does. I'm on a committee at TVA looking at the power availability to 2035 and then actually to 50. And when I started looking at some of the stuff, and I think some of that's going to change, but there was more focus on solar and less on nuclear. And, I'm sitting in the room with Google and Meta and the steel mill and the Sierra Club. I mean, there's a lot of people in there.
Right.
And I'm thinking, it seems like this. I'm like you, Richard. This is our answer. And they're doing a small one. I don't know if you saw TVA's got the green light to do a small one, but I read it last night. I think it's 50 megawatts. Well, that's not the steel mill uses 360 megawatts. So,
wow.
We got to get to scale. Now everybody's saying Trump's making it easier, less regulations, all that stuff.
Do you hear that from people within the industry that it actually is what they're saying in terms of cutting through the red tape and less regulation? Or not yet? Like it's trending in that direction?
I think it is, but it's still some hangover. I mean, we're still having trouble with not even on power plants, but just getting visits from federal regulatory agencies to get stuff done. It's still we're not there yet. Not on the deals we're working.
Yeah,
I think you'll get there, but what happens in the next administration when the rules change again? I just don't think as a country every 4 to 8 years we can go hard to the left and hard to the right. I mean, that starts being difficult.
Yeah. Joe Max Higgins, just a couple of minutes left. So. With the aluminum mill, I was driving around that one when we were here, and I was struck with just the scale of it, how much land there is, how big that site is. My untrained eye looks like there's a lot of room to grow out there as well. Is that part of the plan?
Yeah.
When some of these companies come in?
Oh yeah, we never try to cite somebody on it. We look at land to building ratios, what we put them on. We always want to give them room to expand because all of our plants that we've located expand. That aluminum plant is on a 1,400 acre site, but they've got another 700 acres north of them where the customer park's going.
Okay. So
they've got a 2,200 acre footprint there. The steel mill's got a 1,400 acre footprint. PACCAR, that's only a 500,000 square feet of building, has a 400 acre footprint. So we've given all these guys room to grow because we don't want them ever to get to the point where they don't want to expand. When they want to expand, there's not room.
Yeah. You mentioned something a second ago, and I know it was talked about a ton when Toyota came to Blue Springs. Toyota coming was a big deal. Secondarily, all of the suppliers kind of following in, and the job, they didn't have nearly the fanfare. They don't have that same logo, but they supply Toyota and have created untold jobs, good-paying jobs. Is that happening with the mega site projects as well?
Oh, yeah. On the steel mill, you got Mississippi Steel Processing, Altex Tube, New Process Steel, Golden Triangle Mill Services. There's about 1,000 people that work at the steel mill. There's probably close to that many people that work in other jobs vending on the site.
Right. And those suppliers, additional, those are on site also, or in?
Oh yeah, we make a roll of steel at the steel mill. It goes to Mississippi Steel Processing. It's cut into bands. It's sent over to Altex Tube and rolled into a tube, and then it's sent out to the customer. So we touch it 1, 2, 3 times before it ever leaves the site.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Klockner that I talked about earlier, that does the same thing for aluminum. Cuts it to width and length, and they're building about $100 million project. That's the first customer that's coming in with the aluminum mill. We've got 3 or 4 behind them looking that we're talking to right now.
So are those sites leased from you, or are they leased from the steel mill?
We gave the steel mill the site and the aluminum mill the site, and then they cut the deal with the customers that they want on site. You can't get on site unless you buy a certain volume, unless you have a certain relationship.
It's a fascinating business. A lot of tentacles.
Yeah.
In a lot of different directions. Continued success, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
Always enjoy the conversation.
Always enjoy you.
Joe Max Higgins joining me this morning on Mornings with Richard Cross. He is the executive director of the Golden Triangle Development Link. Great things happening there, and he said it earlier. He said, imitation, the sincerest form of flattery. When you look at a couple of other multi-county partnerships that are either underway or trying to get underway in the state of Mississippi. We will wrap up the 7 o'clock hour with you coming up next on MRC right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.